Joining us now to walk through some of these legal logic of the decision and the sentencing is ABC News contributor and civil rights lawyer with the Cochran firm, Channa Lloyd. Channa, thanks so much for being here. So the judge herself admitted that this sentence was a, quote, downward departure here. We heard her giving a little bit of clarity as to how she reached this decision. But can you give us some further sharpening of how she made this decision? And are you surprised at the actual number she ended up at?
You know, Trevor, let's start with the fact that there was a downward departure. These presumptive guidelines are advisory for the court, and the judge does have the ability to make these downward departures when there's a substantial and compelling reason that they can articulate why there should be one. To see a downward departure this significant, I was actually very surprised, but this judge felt that she had enough reasons that she could articulate as to why this downward departure was necessary in this particular case.
And she very clearly wanted to express that quite carefully. You could hear her reading her statement methodically as she was explaining her decision. How rare is it for a judge to be this transparent when it comes to explaining their decision process?
Well, in your atypical case, you know, you don't typically see this level of detail. But with this particular judge, I think she's very well aware that the nation was watching this trial, and there were a lot of eyes and ears on this particular case and looking forward to the sentencing. So under the Minnesota requirements, they do have to be clearly articulated and transparent by the judge in order to make this downward departure. So I think what you saw was her making a record that was very clear and concise as to the reasons that she was going to make this downward departure.
I'm also curious about the fine, Channa. How do they arrive at an amount like this, like $1,000 on a conviction, especially when it comes to the loss of a human life?
Absolutely. It seems like an arbitrary and capricious number, but these fines are typically attached to criminal penalties. So first-degree manslaughter in this particular state carries a sentence of not more than 15 years and or fines up to $30,000. Typically, when you have an offense like this where someone is incarcerated, if they don't have a high income, then you'll typically see the fine at a lower statute, lower area. And these particular fines are paid to the state and to the county. They do not go to the victims. They are typically fines that are used to keep the criminal justice system along.
You know, I would love to know what you think, Channa. So many people for so long in this country have expressed doubt that police officers can be held accountable for their actions or ever be convicted when they take the life of an innocent person, particularly an innocent black person in America. We saw when the conviction was given that it was a celebratory mood that a lot of people thought they could finally exhale. And now some family members feel like that justice has been taken away from them with a shorter sentence. How much does a sentence like this maybe infringe on the progress that those people thought they were getting with the conviction in the first place?
I think typically people think of the criminal justice system as ending with the verdict. But unfortunately, there is a much longer process. There is sentencing, and there is a lot of discretion in the sentencing process. So a lot of times when we have families, such as his family, expressing this outrage about this downward departure, they feel a loss in what they felt was something that should have spoken to the loss of life that they're experiencing. And it makes them feel disenfranchised because they feel as though they got the guilty verdict from the jury. Therefore, there should have been something closer to the presumptive sentencing for this particular crime that should have happened here. And so it can be extremely disenfranchising for the family and in the community at large, and it can cause distrust within the system.
You can hear the very real anguish from Kim Potter, but also the very real open wound with that family. Channa Lloyd, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Trevor.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.